Hey guys, welcome back, and today we'll be looking at how to solve the valid parenthesis problem. And the problem statement goes like this: given a string containing just the characters, these many brackets, which are nothing but a set of closing and opening brackets, and determine if the input string is valid. An input string is valid if open bracket must be closed by the same type of brackets. Open brackets must be closed in the correct order. So basically what we have to do is say consider this example. So this if this type of string is given, we just have to return true because the opening and closing parentheses are of the same type and of the same order, and even this is proper in terms of order and type. But whereas this differs in type, we have to return false. It is not a valid parenthesis string, and even this is not of the same type and order, whereas this goes in the proper order, and all the closing and opening is done in proper order and with same type. So for this we'll be using the concept of stack to implement this. The idea behind using stack for this is whenever we encounter an opening bracket, we just push it onto the stack, and whenever we encounter a closing bracket of the same type, we just pop the previously pushed bracket, right? So at the end, if the stack is empty, we have a valid string with us, or else it is not valid, the string is not valid. So let's just declare a stack. We'll be using list as stack. We'll be mimicking the operation of stack using a list, and also we'll be needing a dictionary or hash map, you can call it. I'll explain why we need a hash map. So the hash map will contain closing bracket for each opening bracket, so that later on we can just look up the corresponding closing bracket for the opening brackets. So this is how it will be, and now we have a lookup for all the closing brackets, and now we will iterate over the string. We'll get each character, and if that character is one of the opening brackets, so if the this has to be opening curly bracket and opening square bracket. So if it is one of the opening brackets, then what we do, we just push it onto the stack like how we spoke. We just append. We use append because this is a list. Since this is a list, we have to use append. Basically we are just mimicking the push operation. So we append the character, and now else okay, now if it is not an opening bracket, it has to be a closing bracket, right? So if it is a closing bracket, then we do a type check if it is of the same type of the previously pushed opening bracket. So this, right now we have a closing bracket. If that is not equal to the lookup of the previously pushed, which is nothing but the top of the stack. So how do we get the top of the stack? We just do stack.pop. So I'll explain in a minute. So what this statement means is we are popping the top of the stack, which is nothing but the last pushed opening bracket, and then we are getting the closing bracket of that type, and then we are comparing it with the current closing bracket. If they do not match, that means that we have a wrong, we have an incorrect parenthesis string. So according to the problem statement, we have to return false. So if okay, return, I missed the return statement over here. Return false. So if none of this happen, let me say indentation. Right, so we have to return true if this does not get executed, right? If this does not get executed, that means that the string is valid. There are no, type errors, difference in type of the closing and opening brackets, and they are in order. So we just return true. Just run the code and check. Okay, yeah, it has been accepted, but there is a problem in this. We'll get to know when I submit. So the problem is we will get something like this. Okay, so why are we getting false over here? This, okay, we are getting true instead of false, right? Problem is in here we have to check if the stack is equal to 0, because it cannot be anything other than the closing bracket, right? It has to be a closing bracket, or else the, if this is true, then we have to return false. Let's check it now. And still having this. So if they are this, then append it. Else if this is empty and it has to be a closing bracket. We pop the stack and then we check the closing bracket for that. Okay, so the mistake which I made was before returning true, we have to check if the stack is empty. If the stack is empty, then only we have to return true, right? Or else it's not true, so it's not a valid string. So now this should work. Okay, for we have to check that if the length of s equals 0, change this to return false. Oh, I mean true. Yeah, of course. If the length is 0, we have to return true. And we can add one more condition. If length of the string mod 2 not equal to 0. This means that there are odd number of elements, right, in the odd number of characters in the string, so which is not valid. It'll directly return false. Yep, it ran with 32 millisecond, and so basically the problem was I had missed these two. These two should be added because if there are no items or characters in the string, uh, the length would be 0, and it would mean that it is also valid, right? And one more condition would be if there are odd number of characters in a string, uh, there is no need to check and go through this logic, because if there are odd number of characters, then it wouldn't make any sense, right? It wouldn't be a valid parenthesis. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you learned something new, and catch you guys in the next one.